Hello, this is Michael Pick with the Dating Engineer, and today we're doing profile audit. Today we have Angelic with us, and tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you new to LA?
Yes, I recently just moved here about a month ago, but I've really only been here for like 2 weeks, so pretty new to the scene.
Awesome. And how are you liking LA? Like, how are the people compared to where you're from before?
Well, I've been all around, and the people here are quite interesting. They're a little different than what I'm used to in terms of they care a lot about social media.
Do you think that's an LA thing, or have you seen that like in other places around the world?
I would say it's more prominent in LA for sure, where people are more so like, oh, they're trying to get an Instagrammable type of picture, rather than enjoy the moment more, or they're focused on numbers and stuff like that.
And do you think that makes it more challenging? I imagine it does make it harder to find a connection if everybody cares about superficial stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say it's challenging to find a deep, meaningful connection in LA for sure.
I can understand that. And so far, like, I know you've tried dating apps. Have you had any luck, like, meeting with anybody in just real life, like, interactions, or not really so far?
No, not really so far. But if I do notice someone that I like their energy or cadence, I would typically approach them.
Oh, you would? Okay. So if somebody does something that you find attractive, how would you normally approach that guy?
I'm a bit awkward, so I would probably go up to them and compliment them on something in regards to what I liked. So if like it's the way they carry themselves or their energy, or maybe they're being the life of the party, maybe I'll compliment them on that and be like, I really love how you're just like boisterous and out there, Yeah.
Okay. Now, follow up to that, say they're really not getting the signs, which some guys don't.
Right.
Do you go one step further, like, hey, what's your Instagram? Or you kind of just like throw out that initial interest?
Oh, I will definitely say, like, I'm interested in getting to know you more. Would you want to hang out like sometime after this?
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
I'm pretty straightforward.
Okay. No, I think that's good, because I think some guys are that dense where it's like, oh, she was so cool, and then not put it together until after, like, oh, maybe she wanted to like hang out later.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. Okay, no, I think that's really good. You know what you want, you're going for it. And I'm just going through your information here. It says you're a Twitch streamer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been streaming on Twitch for the past 4 years now, quite a long time, but it's always been a hobby for me. So I kind of just turn on the camera at the end of the night and provide a space for people to talk about whatever they want, be whoever they want. It's very comfortable. Like, I'm just chilling on my little bean bag and we're just talking about life or hardships or whatever, and we get through it together,
That's awesome. And so what made you want to do this? Did you start kind of by accident, or did you have like a goal when you started this?
It was definitely on accident. I was pushed a lot by people I knew to start it during COVID because I was just at home doing nothing. I was stuck actually in New Zealand. And because of COVID, I couldn't leave. So all I could do was sit in my room all day. And my friends were like, you should stream, because they streamed as well. So I started it. And I guess from there, it kind of just grew into what it is now.
That's awesome. Okay, so I assume with Twitch, you probably get a chance to meet a lot of people, but they're probably like spread all over the world. So it's kind of hard, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's really cool. So it sounds like this is your profession now. And I'm just reading through your bio right here. I'm going to read this out loud. I love art, travel, music, deep conversations. I'm very hard to get intrigued, but when I find myself being intrigued, I usually make the first move and go all in. I know what I want. I'm secure with myself and who I am. So it sounds like you have a really confident persona and you know what you want, which is really good, because a lot of people, they're kind of casual when it comes to dating, or kind of like just let other people guide them.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good. What would you say, like, is there anything that happens after like a first real date that like you have issue with the guy, or maybe the follow-up date's weird? Is there anything that happens there?
Issues, I'm not sure. I don't really go on dates often, I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. For me, I'm kind of the type of person where I would prefer to save it's interesting. People have found this interesting, but I would prefer to save dates for when we're exclusively like already seeing each other rather than, oh, I'm going on a date to get to know someone.
Oh, okay.
So I consider dates a little differently, where a date for me is like someone planning things according to my interest and likes. But if we're just going out to get to know each other, I don't consider it a date. I just consider it, oh, we're going to get to know each other. I don't have expectance for them to pay for anything or, you know, treat me in some sort of manner. I think that we're just getting to know each other as people. So I just see it as more casual, and then I'll be like, okay, if I'm actually interested in this person romantically and seriously, then I'll let them know like, oh, you know, I want to be exclusive with each other and go on like proper outings, if that makes sense.
That's cool. So I guess from the guy's perspective, if he asked you out on a date, would you just like accept that? But in your head, you're like, okay, I'm still just getting to know the guy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that makes more sense.
So like I have been asked out, and to me, like grabbing coffee or dinner, like I'm just getting to know them. Again, because I don't have any expectance for any type of chivalry or for them to pay for me or anything like that. I'm just getting to know who they are, how they are, their character. And yeah, I don't like to, I don't know. For me, a date is so, it really is when you cater to someone's interest and likes rather than just like, well, we're going out and doing this thing. It's like I'm planning something that I know will be meaningful for you. That's what I consider a date.
I think that's smart.
A little complicated, I guess.
No, I think that's fair. Like you're looking for effort because if they don't make it at the start, you're probably going to get less over time.
Yeah, people get comfortable most of the time. It's like, okay, well, like I got her, I have her. I don't need to put in this effort anymore, which I don't really like that because I'm the other way. I put in more and more the more that I'm interested in you.
I think that's fair. Like the more you invest, the more you like somebody, I think the more you invest is natural because you care about them.
Yeah, time, effort, money.
Yeah, exactly.
All those things. Yeah.
It starts to add up. Well, I mean, I think that's why a lot of marriages and relationships end is because like people get comfortable, either like stop working out, stop trying to like look good for the other person. And then somebody else comes along. I'm not saying this right, but it's like your partner kind of like checked out.
Yeah,
like,
emotionally checking out. That's a thing. Yeah. And when people start to lack care for themselves in their relationships, in my head, that means they never had that care for themselves without the partner to begin with. So it's unfortunate. And I think that's where the saying, oh, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. I don't necessarily agree with the exact terminology of that, but you have to care for yourself. You know, you have to want to put an effort into yourself before putting effort into someone else. And your effort into yourself shouldn't be inspired or motivated by someone else. It should be for yourself to begin with, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. I think whenever people look for like happiness in their partner, that's when you can never win because like you can't always be somebody's amusement. And then eventually they'll get bored of you. They're like, oh, this is so amazing for the first week.
The honeymoon phase.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you really don't have any substance or you don't like the person, that quickly fades and it's really nothing. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to like have a foundation of what you like about the person and kind of focus on like, okay, where is this going? Or like maybe some people don't want anything serious. If you communicate that, that's fine. But if you like tell that person like, hey, I see this going somewhere, I think as long as you're both on the same page, like that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I always tell people like, it doesn't matter. If you want to have fun, you can go have fun.
Yeah.
It's not going to be with me, but you can go have fun. Exactly. Yeah.
But you respect that more if they're like upfront, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Then I'm like, I'm not upset. It's just not what I'm looking for.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the problem is when they allude to being serious and they're like, no, I just want to be casual. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, I'm just checking that camera. Okay. I think that's more common in LA than anywhere because I think a lot of people here are very much about like, I don't know, like instant gratification, like we talked about earlier. It's like, they just want the hookup. They just want the fun. But, you know, the more you do that, you realize there's not a lot there.
Yeah. And, you know, I prefer substance, you know, and it's funny because I went to a club here and guys kept approaching me and they were like, oh, like, you want to have some fun tonight? And I was just like, I'm not the type of girl you have fun with. If there's not a ring on my finger, then we're not having any fun. Yeah. And they would look at me like I'm crazy and they would just like walk away. And I was just like, well, at least I'm staying true to myself, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's important. I think to the right guy, that is super attractive because there's a lot of girls where it's like, oh yeah, let's have fun. but in your head, you kind of like write them off. Like, okay, like I'm not going to take them super seriously because they did this for me. I mean, it could be like a 1 in a million where like they just like you that much.
Yeah.
But I think you don't know for sure if that's the type of person that they are. So I think holding to that will probably help you, especially if you're looking for marriage. Like the guy that's into that will really like that versus just have fun, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I think that's awesome. So going over the form you filled out, have you been on any other app besides Hinge, or is Hinge the only app you use right now?
Hinge is the only thing.
Okay. No, I think Hinge is really good, especially for what's out there, because like Tinder is kind of bad right now. Bumble, I've had friends say like it's kind of hit or miss there. And then Raya, that's like the LA one. That one's kind of like a mess too, because a lot of celebrities, and like that's like have you heard of that one before, Raya? It's basically like you have to be like an influencer to get on it.
Oh.
So you're just matching with other influencers that have egos, I think.
That's interesting. Like, do you have like, is there a criteria of?
Yeah. So basically you have to get invited by a member, which in LA isn't hard to find a member if you ask around. But I feel like it could work, but I feel if two people have big egos, it's really hard to make it work. So I feel like that's more like casual almost.
Yeah, and it's also hard if you date another influencer. A lot of the time they're going to maybe even want to make the relationship in some sort of content.
Yeah.
And I believe doing that can, if you're not both in a very secure, mature place in life, that can be a detriment to the relationship. So I
agree. That could be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I see a lot of influencers that basically like make their lives, and I think fabricate stuff for content, of course, which I get it.
Yeah, but it is kind of sad because, you know, you may have people fabricating, like doing like will you be my girlfriend proposal and making it extravagant and everything like that. And it's just like, oh, it's just for the video.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't like that.
I feel like you could probably make it work if you're very honest with your partner. Like, hey, we're going to do this thing for a video, but also I'm going to do it for real maybe before.
Yeah.
That might work, but it's still kind of strange, I feel like.
Yeah. I think it's strange recording intimate moments.
Yeah.
I would feel quite uncomfortable if like it was posted. Like if you want to record it for just us two and like for memory's sake, like that's cute. Okay. But if you're recording it to purposefully put it out in the world, it's kind of like, why? What's the point? Like, I want this to be between us and our moment, not everyone's moment. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though.
No, I think that's totally fair. I think the more people you allow access to your lives, not that it can cause problems, but I think problems can arise from that because people can be weird. People can like make stuff up.
They're very opinionated, judgmental people. Even if people like, I feel negative about your relationship or anything. I believe in energy, you know, that negative energy that they're feeling towards you. I don't know. I feel like it can impact something in some way.
Well, I know some influencers that go the exact opposite from trying to like use it for content. They literally don't post their partners because they don't want to mess it up. So they like lock it all down.
Yeah, see, that's where it's a balance. Everything in life is balance, in my opinion. And there's a good balance between, you know, it doesn't have to be a secret, but you can be private about it. There's ways to do that, and that's fine. Yeah.
No, I think that's smart. I think it depends on like how popular. Some people that are literally so popular that it'll cause problems for their spouse or whoever they're dating, even if they're not influencer, just by default. So I think that is true. It's like a case-by-case basis. Okay, now going over your profile. When we look at your profile, it says that we ask about what parts of it may need improvement. And it says you're unsure, but maybe express more of your personality. And we haven't looked at your profile yet. So do you think there's things we could do to maybe talk about like your hobbies or your like something that could, even a voice memo might give people better idea?
Yeah, I don't even have a voice memo on my profile. So like stuff like that, I don't know. I'm quite a reserved person. When people meet me, they're like, oh, you're very like mature, put together, you're very like quiet. And that is me, I suppose, on the surface. But obviously I have sides of me that are silly and more rambunctious, but I just don't really showcase it to everyone. It's kind of like, oh, you got to get to know me a little before that. But I feel like on Hinge or on dating apps, you probably should be more open about showing those sides of you. So I think I struggle with that a little bit.
No, I understand that. And I think like you don't want to give off too much too early. You want to like reserve something. But I think if people, just hearing your voice, I think it helps people kind of put a picture of who you are in your head almost. It's like, I don't know, if I see a prompt, it kind of like instantly changes what I think of that person just by putting a voice to it.
Yeah.
So maybe something simple like, hey, I'm a Twitch streamer. This is what I do. I enjoy this. And literally keep it like 5 seconds, really brief. That's something we could try. Now, going further down, it says, we ask, are there any specific challenges or issues you're facing with your current profile? And no, other than I don't really find myself interested in anything anyone says on here. Okay, I mean, that's fair. Like, a lot of the profiles, especially made by guys, are really bad. So
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, I guess like I do get a lot of people who like my profile, but when I look at what they say, like maybe they just like a picture, or maybe the sentence that they write to me is like copy and paste from what another 100 guys said to me. And I'm just like, okay, well, if you're all asking the same question, how am I supposed to be intrigued by you?
Yeah, that's fair. So guys just aren't really doing that great of a job. Shocking. Okay, well, we can't fix that. We can fix everything else. When talking about what type of relationship you're looking for, you want a serious relationship, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. No, I think that's fair. And Hinge also has a setting where it shows like if you want casual, serious.
It does, yeah.
So that's perfect. We can kind of put that out there early. And then for what qualities you're looking for emotional intelligence, maturity, consideration, hardworking, goal-oriented. So, I mean, those are all solid things. Do you have that currently in your profile, like kind of what you're looking for, or not yet?
No, I actually don't typically like stating what I'm looking for because a lot of guys tend to, oh, you like a guy who's disciplined? I'm disciplined.
Yeah.
And they, no offense, but a lot of men do put on a facade.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Oh, I love chivalry, and I love when a man opens the door for me and like does small acts of kindness for me and everything. So they start doing that at the beginning, and then it trickles and it goes away later on because it's not who they genuinely are. So I try to avoid actually saying what I like or what I'm looking for or like my type, because a lot of people ask like, oh, what's your type?
Yeah.
And to be honest with them, I'm just like, I don't want to say, because I don't want you to pretend. I just want you to be you, and if I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trick question, like, what's your type so I can be your type for a week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, no, I think that's smart. I think you don't want to play your hand too early, and you can literally talk to somebody and figure out, like, are they mature? Do they get up in time?
That's why for, like, me saying emotional intelligence, that's something I can decide if you have right away from our first conversation. You can't really pretend to have emotional intelligence. So, like, I'm okay with saying things like, yeah, I am looking for that. So I'm very particular with what I say, like, that I'm looking for.
No, I think that's fair. Like, or if you like change plans with a guy, does he like freak out and call you a name, or you're like, okay, no big deal?
Yeah.
So I think those are all signs that you can pick up really quickly on.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so that makes sense. And then going on to our last form here, is there anything specific you would like to share or highlight about yourself? And you wrote, I'm a lover girl. I would do anything and everything for my partner. I love, and my wild world and decisions in life revolve around love.
Whole world. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say I've lived a life truly based around love and only love.
No, I think that's really fair.
Most of my decisions in life are made because of love.
Okay. No, I think that's good. So I think you have a really solid profile, and we're going to get into it in a second here. But it sounds like you know exactly what you want. Some people I talk to, they're still figuring out, which is fine, but they're kind of still like not sure what they want.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good. You are very specific and like, hey, I want a serious person that is serious about their life too, and probably has stuff they're working on. So I think that's really good. So angelic. Have there been any really good or really bad dates that you've been on, or situations that kind of stand out to you in the past?
I like to say that I'm not a very judgmental person, but obviously when you're looking for your lifelong partner, there's going to be things that stand out of like that you don't like. Obviously, if I do notice something that I don't like, I'll go out of my way to try to understand it rather than judge it and like write them off. But there's, you can't deny that there's just some things that you're just like, why are they doing this? Or like, it just doesn't rub you the right way, right? I think in my past, one time I went out with this guy, I was just getting to know him, and he was very, very clingy. Like, I love, and I want my partner to love me and want to cling on to me and everything. But when we're just meeting, it's our first time meeting, and right after, you're already sending me like 10 different texts, and you're getting worried about me not answering, and you're like being like, when are we going to meet again? Can we do it this day? Or he actually came to my city one time because I was just like, oh, like, I'm really busy. I don't know when we can meet again.
Yeah.
And he intentionally came to the city I was staying in. And he was like, well, I'm in your city. And I was just like, why are you here? And he was just like, to see you. And I was just like, okay, but I said I was busy, and he was just like, well, like, do you have like a few minutes? Like, just come meet me at the train station. Like, I'll be waiting for you. And I was just like, I don't really know. I just met you once. Like, chill out just a little bit. Like, if I want to see you, I'll make time to see you. You don't have to be so
desperate
pushy with it. Yeah. So I think when it's very clingy or kind of desperate from the start, I kind of maybe pull back myself, because I don't really understand how you can feel that way so strongly, like from the start, when you don't even really know me. And I take it a little wrong only because like, oh, is it my looks that is making you this into me? Like, what is it? Because you barely know me. You don't really know my wrongdoings. You don't know my mistakes. Like, I could be a terrible person, and you're trying to cling on to me this hard. I don't know, I take it a little weird, I suppose.
No, I think you're right, because when you first meet somebody, like, I think it's easy to be attracted to them physically, but literally, I think as you get older, you realize like that person could be terrible. Like, they could be awesome. I hope they are, but like literally, I tell people, and it's kind of hard to do, but like you want to have like kind of like an even level of emotion going into stuff, because I think if you get too excited too early, the come down's harder.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be too pessimistic or like too trying to tear apart the situation before it becomes something where you just are too like in your own head about it. But it sounds like that situation, he probably really did like you, like physically, or he thought you were perfect, and you could be perfect for him. But by the way he handled that, it kind of killed it, because he's thrown out his insecurities where like he doesn't think he's good enough where you would talk to him again. Because if he was confident, he'd be like, okay, I like her. I made it known I like her. I did my part. I'll show interest. And if she feels the same, we'll pick up from there.
Yeah.
But by like hounding you down and trying to force a date, like that's never, like if you're not into him, that's not going to make it better.
And he probably would have had a chance if he didn't.
Was normal.
Right. Yeah. If he was more casual about it and more like, I don't know, just less clingy, I suppose. Again, not that I don't like that. When I'm in a relationship, I'm clingy, I want my partner to want to be around me all the time. I'm going to want to be around them all the time. Also having a mature understanding that we do have our separate lives, of course. But it's just the initial stages. I don't think that you should particularly be that way.
Well, no, because like we said, you don't know the person. So by rushing into that situation, you're just basically saying, this is what I want. I really don't care what you want. Like, I know I like you, and I just want to like lock this down.
Yeah.
But like I tell people all the time, you can't control people. Like, if say everything went perfectly and you started dating him and like he wanted to leave or you wanted to leave, like you can't really stop that person. Like, that's their own like free will.
Yeah.
So you have to let it go where it's going to go.
Love is very up in the air. And it's also like, it's a choice at the end of the day. Realistically, love is just a feeling, and feelings, unfortunately, are fleeting. You're not going to sit there and be in love with your partner probably 24/7. There's going to be times where you get annoyed. There's going to be times where maybe they disappoint you, but it's what you do despite that love not always being there. You still choose to show them that love. You still choose to be there for them and choose them every single day. So that's how I view it, at least.
No, I think that's a really mature way to view it because I think a lot of people feel like love in the first week. And then if that goes away, like, I want out or I'm not interested. But I think as you get older, you kind of realize, like, if you see yourself with this person long term, you kind of realize, like, hey, there might be small issues here and there, but if we can work through this, like, we're good.
Yeah.
But I think that comes with age. Like, I think when you're super
Maturity
young,
thing, yeah.
yeah, it's like, I just like this.
Well, I feel like when people are young, they very much chase after like this like lustful feeling. Like, do you know the spark? Have
Yeah.
have you ever felt the spark for someone?
Oh, yes.
And a lot of the time, I think people don't realize that that spark doesn't mean that that is the love of your life. That spark comes from a very excited, lustful side of you for that person because maybe you're drawn to their appearance, maybe you're drawn to their energy or something, and it's giving you that exciting feeling or even nervous feeling. And people mistake it of like, oh, I need to chase that feeling. But a lot of the time that doesn't stay. You know, a lot of the time it's something you initially feel and then it kind of is like, you know, maybe you guys aren't compatible. At the end of the day, it's not just about how you feel around them or how they make you feel. It's about, are you guys compatible? You know, in your life, in your living circumstances, in what you like and what you don't like, in your personalities. There's so many things to take into consideration when it comes to real love. It's not just how they make you feel.
Well, that's the other thing people don't talk about. Like, say you do get to like stage 2 and like you do start living together. Maybe they do something wild that you just can't live with. Like, they trash your place or like they don't clean up after themselves.
Yeah.
That's terrible, and you probably can't live with that long term. So there's like a lot of things along the way you got to get past before like you decide this is your person.
Yeah.
So that's why it's crazy when you first meet somebody to like build them up, like, oh, this person's perfect.
Yeah, they
like,
gave me this feeling that I can't explain, like
Yeah.
this spark. I don't know. I very much have heard a lot of people talk about the spark. I have even felt it before, but that I can wholeheartedly sit here and say that like that person wasn't my person. And I don't continue to search for that feeling within anyone else just because I have felt it before. I think love is more real than that. It's not, I don't know, it doesn't revolve around that in my opinion.
Okay, so you're very like analytical about what you want, even though you don't feel like certain emotions, you know, like this could be my person, even though I don't feel like the spark.
Yeah, I don't think the spark is necessary
Oh, okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like, do you feel like a certain level of like physical attraction is necessary, or do you think if you get to know somebody that even if like they're not your like nobody's perfect, but you know your ideal physical person, do you think that would work too for you?
So I don't have an ideal physical type. I know a lot of other people do, but I don't think that it should dictate if someone's your person or not. You know, if you guys work out in every other aspect of life, why is the physical stopping that from blossoming? I mean, unless you are 100% just like not attracted to them at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
Like if you can't do anything about it, sure, all right, like I understand. So if there's 0% attraction, but I believe that attraction grows over time, even with knowing someone emotionally. And you know, the more time, effort, money, and whatever you're putting into that person, you're becoming more connected to them, and that connection alone is going to build up your attraction to them, in my opinion.
No, I think that's very true. I kind of like put it similar to what you're saying, where you build a connection with people over time, even if like they're not your ideal picture perfect person. But also something too I talk about is like, if you look at somebody and how they carry themselves, you can kind of tell whether or not they respect themselves and will respect you. Because there's some people like you talk to them, just by talking to them, their life's a mess. Like they don't have any direction. And it's like, that to me is very unattractive because like I know what I want and I want somebody that I'm with to like not have to have me pull them along with me. That's just taxing, you know? So I think just by like what you're looking for, you'll get these characteristics by default. Like if you want a motivated, self-starting person, they probably like try to eat right, try to like work out, try to like have a job that pays them.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, I will say another thing that I don't like when I meet people and they tell me that they like order their food every single day. Like they DoorDash or
So
Uber
expensive.
their food every day. And I'm just like, okay, but that's, I don't know, that's super unhealthy to me. That's also super like, you just don't care that much. And I'm big on doing things, putting my time and energy into things that are going to like be beneficial to not only me in the future, but to my husband in the future and to my kids in the future, you know, like me taking the time to cook for myself, make sure I eat healthy meals, make sure I understand nutrition and everything like that. That's going to benefit me. But you sitting there just ordering every meal, and I don't know, I don't like it. It kind of, when someone tells me that, I kind of am like, okay, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this person is that mature even, because it's like, yeah, you have the option and it's easy, but why are you taking the easy route? Because I know cooking does take work, but I think that's like kind of the point, you know, you're putting that time, effort, and energy into yourself instead of just taking the easy way.
No, I think that's right. I think like by what they tell you, you can kind of form an opinion on like how they care about themselves and where, because like if you care about something, like say you care about your health a lot, you're probably going to like care about what food you buy if you work out. But then if it's like an afterthought, all that kind of goes out the window. But you'll learn that, like I said, on the first couple of dates, like when you go over to their place, like, oh, so like, do you have anything? Like, no, I just order my food all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and it's super, super expensive to do that. No, I think that's really fair. And I think by just the attributes that you're looking for, you're going to get these characteristics by default, which is good. Now, on a first date, like I assume a lot of guys probably like are super into you, carry the conversation. Do you try to like, I talked to a few other people about this. I think guys do this more than girls, but like they'll talk too much because they're excited. And I don't know if, I'm just curious, have you noticed that like when you go on a date, is it pretty equal in like who communicates more, or is it kind of like one person just talking over the other person?
So I typically really only put my time, energy into people that I think there's potential with.
Okay.
And most of the time that means I'm very much into them. And I've carried a lot of conversation, I would say, because I like to ask very specific questions.
Okay.
Like I'll be like, you know, like what are your insecurities? What are your goals, your passions? You know, I like to get very deep right from the start. So I guess for me, I typically lead, especially if I made the first move. But obviously I've noticed like if a guy makes the first move on me, then he's typically leading the questions. But I try to do a good job at being equal about it, you know, answering it and asking them back if they're asking me questions first.
No, I think that's really good. Like I've talked to some people and I think it's easy, not in a bad way, but like say they talk about streaming and you're really passionate about streaming because you're a streamer. It might be tempting to just like go off and like, cause you're excited to talk about something. And I feel like that's
on a tangent.
Yeah, kind of because you're not in a bad way, just because you're excited. And I think guys do that more than girls, especially, but it's not great. Like if you know somebody like what you're doing, this probably isn't even a thing. But if it's like a legit first date and you're meeting off Hinge, I've seen guys or I talk to guys that kind of like just talk and don't give the person a chance to like tell their story. And I feel like you got to be careful of that because it can kind of give the person a bad image of you, even though you don't mean it in a bad way. It's like you come across as kind of like self-centered and like,
yeah, you want to make sure to always include the other person and like ask them questions back, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely not keep talking about yourself. I've come into encounters where the guy like mainly just talks about himself and like hasn't or didn't ask me any questions in return. These weren't people I went on dates with. They were just encounters like out and about. And I immediately checked them off as like, oh, I probably would never like get to know them more.
Yeah.
I already got to know so much.
Yeah.
And
they already told me so much about their accomplishments, so I'm good. No, I think that's fair. And like I said, how you're meeting people like kind of as friends first, I think you'll kind of avoid this because you'll just talk about like what you're into.
Yeah, that's why I like a slow burn. I like a friends to lovers, you know, like let's just hang out, you know, just get to know each other as human beings. See where it leads, because you never know.
Do you feel like most guys are open to that, or do they try to like artificially push things faster with you?
I would say I've had encounters of both. I've had guys like try to immediately be like, oh, well, like, I like you, you like me, then why don't we just like go on dates and like everything? And I'm like, because I want to get to know you outside of that, like I want you to be my best friend before you're my partner, even if we both have interest in each other. Which I understand people want to rush into things, but I really believe in creating a solid foundation first.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get if that foundation is shaky from the start? It's probably going to crash down, right? So
Yeah.
building that solid foundation, I think, really happens throughout that friendship from the start.
I think that's fair. I mean, especially if you communicate that to the guy, he can make his own decision.
Yeah.
Like, okay, do I want to see where this goes, or is this too much for me? And so that kind of helps you out too.
And I'm very clear. I'm like, yeah, I am interested in you. Like, let's hang out as friends and like, let's see where it goes. If we feel like holding hands, we'll hold hands. If
Yeah.
we feel like doing this, we'll do this. If the moment is right, but let's not force it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's smart. You're just kind of taking it step by step. But at least you're communicating that. I know some people that kind of just like there's no communication and it's like guessing in the dark where the person's at. So I think it's helpful that you say like, hey, I kind of like you. Let's see where this goes. But at least that gives them information to go off of.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's really smart. I mean, honestly, sounds like you have a really solid game plan for like how to approach this. It's like very structured, which is good. Have you ever noticed of like, I'm sure this happens to you all the time, of guys inviting you to do stuff or like, hey, let's collab. And then like you realize like, oh, they don't want to collab. They just want to like get to know me more.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've had a handful of encounters of people like maybe big YouTubers or big streamers or whatever, and they like seem like they want to do business with me. And then when it comes down to it, they just want to invite me over to their house and like try to get in my pants or something. I make it very clear though that I'm like, oh, hey, I'm willing to help you with your content and, you can help me with my content, but I'm not going to sit here and just have like a fun whatever time with you. And then most of the time from then it kind of like they just disappear, right?
They don't want to do the collab anymore.
No, I don't actually look at like my DMs or anything like that. So it's really tough. I know I've had people say like weird things, like ask to see my feet or like ask to like fly me out places. I've been asked like, actually someone sent me a letter before.
Oh, a letter.
In the mail, and they were like, oh, like, I love what you stand for. I love what you're looking for in regards to love. Like, I'm willing to take care of you for the rest of your life. Like, you just have to fly to me, move in with me, and like everything will be paid for. Your living, your food, like all of that, everything will be paid for. And I was just like, what? Like, I was so confused. I was like, I don't know you. Like I actually didn't know this person at all. We've never communicated like through DMs or anything. They were just a random person. So I found that very interesting and kind of very off-putting because I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of strange. I think like, I don't know. I think guys especially, they form these weird relationships with people like streamers where they think they have access to them because you do.
Parasocial.
Yeah, parasocial because like they're probably lonely. They see you, they're attracted to you, and they feel like they know you because they spend so much time watching you. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of strange, but I think I kind of get it where like these people think like they have access to you when they don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you had any issues with like stalkers or people trying to find you, or are you pretty much able to avoid all that?
I move around so much, so I guess I'm lucky in that aspect, but I definitely have had people who like made multiple alt accounts to still try to contact me and like be really weird. But to be honest, I just block them.
Yeah, just go about your life.
Move on, like, oh.
No, I think that's the best thing to do is just block them and go about your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you've had guys being weird, being creepy. Have you ever had somebody do something really nice for you for a first date that kind of like stood out or was special?
So I actually only considered to have had my first date quite recently, like maybe 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And because actually none of my past relationships I ever went on dates. They never took me out. So, but this guy, he did take me out and he catered the whole day to things that I like. Like he made sure to take me to a restaurant where they had like my favorite dishes served, and he took me to a jazz bar because I really love jazz. And he just made sure to make the night super special for me. And I just found that very admirable because it was catered to my likes, you know? He didn't really take himself into consideration. It was more so just a day for me. I liked that.
Did that relationship go anywhere, or were there other things you didn't like about the guy, like after that?
Oh, no, we're still friends.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's interesting because like it depends on the guy and the situation. And like that guy sounds like he did make a big effort, but there were like other things there that like just didn't work out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're friends. He, I guess he doesn't feel romantically towards me.
Oh, he doesn't?
No,
So he did all that, but he didn't feel romantic?
towards me, yeah.
That's kind of weird, I think, like to go that far out there. So maybe, do you think he felt that at the time, but there was something just fizzled out maybe or something?
No, because we're still really close.
Oh.
Like he does like call me every day, and
Oh, okay.
he talks to me all the time. So we are super close. I think he's just not in a place in his life to date. Really,
Okay.
He's just not in a place in life to commit to a relationship right now. He's not financially ready. He's not ready in his careers or anything. You know, he wants to provide, and he's just not capable of doing that right now. And on top of that, when he was open to a relationship when he was younger, this girl made him feel all these magical feelings that I guess he's struggling to find in someone else. And so he maybe unintentionally compares the feelings that she gave him to new girls. And I guess if they don't give him that same feeling, he kind of just writes it off as like, oh, I don't like her romantically, I just like her as a person. That's kind of how he views it. So yeah, maybe just not emotionally available. I don't know. But either way, I don't fault him. We're still friends. And who knows, you know, we may always be friends, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard because like you never really want to compare your past with the future. I know it's hard to because you had those experiences, but I think it
Yeah.
gets you into trouble where it's like, this person wasn't like my ex, but like usually there's a reason they're your ex. So if you always try to take like the good parts of your ex and put it in the next person, it's really not fair because nobody's like the whole package usually.
Yeah. It's a conversation I had too. I think a lot of men maybe struggle with like, oh, maybe they find a woman that's like 90%, but they're still searching for that like 100, you know, and because, you know, commitment is a very serious thing. And I think for men, it's just like, okay, well, like I need her to be 100%, but that's not something that you typically find. You know, we're all human and we're all flawed. So, you know, if you have someone who's willing to sit there, support you through life, to motivate you to become a better man, to always be by your side regardless, that you're compatible with, that you love, that you have great conversation with, that you have a good time with, I think ultimately, like when it comes to love, that's really all you need, in my opinion.
No, I think you said it perfectly. Like once you know what you want, like you really focus in on that and go for it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we talked a little bit about this off camera, but you mentioned before that you're really like a go-getter when it comes to just life in general. So in the dating scene, when you approach guys, how does that go for you? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I have dealt with quite the handful of rejection, just like anyone would if they actively put themselves out there, right? So I guess for me, I've had some interesting stories in regards to being rejected, because when I was younger, I always went for what I wanted. So when I was like even 10, I remember going up to my crush and being like, I like you. Do you like me? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay.
No.
I just carried on with my life, you know. And then when I got older, you know, as of recent, I've been single for the past like 2.5 years. So maybe like 2 years ago, I made a move on a guy who was talking to another girl while talking to me. And I was in a different country, and we had sorted out a flight for me to come see him and everything. We were going to hang out, go on a bunch of dates, all that fun stuff. But a week before I flew out, he was like, I really like this other girl, we've been hanging out every day together in real life, and I just, there's something special about her. So I was just like, okay, fair enough, there's nothing I can do. But at the time, they were actually going through an argument, and I helped her secure getting her, like, becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, because she was very iffy on it.
Mm-hmm.
She was more so along the lines of actually wanting to reject him.
Oh, wow.
So I remember we were on the phone. I was writing this whole paragraph of like, forgive me, like, I'll do better, like, we can make this work. And, I know what women want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of helping the situation, and yeah, they're still together a year and a half later. So I guess I did good.
So you're very mature and confident in yourself to do that, because most people would just want to see the world burn if they didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah. I know when I tell people that story, they're just like,
you're too nice.
Like, F him. Like,
yeah.
he made you fly, or he's making you fly all the way out over there, and like, he's wasting your time, your money. And I was just kind of like, it happens, At the end of the day, I'm secure with myself. I made plans for myself that had to do with other people than him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was okay. I made use of my time when I went to that place, and it was fine. And I'm glad that they're still happy, even though I liked him a lot. We don't talk anymore. We're still like acquaintances, I suppose, but obviously out of respect to his girlfriend, we don't talk anymore, but we're fine. We're on good terms. And yeah. And I guess another time I've been rejected was a really weird interaction, but I was just casually having conversation. Well, I guess not casual, because it was very deep and meaningful conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he was like, all of a sudden, like, can I be honest with you? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course, you can always be honest with me. And he was like, it feels like you just say what men like to hear. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, like, all your answers, like, they come across as very, like, perfect. And I was like, well, I guess it's just how I speak. It's how I articulate myself. I don't mean to come across a certain way. It's just who I am. And then he was just like, well, like, what are your flaws? And
tell me your problems.
Yeah,
right?
and
okay.
I was just like, I'm human. I have many flaws. And he was like, see, another perfect answer. And I was like, what? He was just like, I don't know, it just seems too good to be true. And so he continued to not give me a chance with him, because he thought I was like putting on a character, or like too good to be true,
like a
or like too
fake front or something.
Yeah, too perfect. Which was very interesting, because for me, it's kind of like, well, what can I do about that? Like, I'm just being myself, But I remember after that, I made a whole list of my flaws to make sure that the next time I got asked that question, I'd be prepared to answer, instead of just answering like, yeah, I'm human and we all have flaws. Now I know to answer more precisely for the next time.
I mean, it almost sounds like a job interview. Like, what are your flaws? What are your weaknesses? Like, why even say that, right? Like,
yeah. It was a very interesting interaction, but rejected me. Nothing happened from it. I guess nothing ever is going to happen. Again, I still know this person.
mm-hmm.
I'm still good terms with everyone that has ever rejected me, because I believe that, like, there's no reason to be on bad terms with anyone. I mean, yeah, sure, you rejected me now, but I don't know the future. You don't know the future. Our feelings could change. My feelings could change. I could end up not liking you. You could end up liking me. We honestly don't know. We don't know anything that's going to happen in the future. So I just kind of like to leave open possibilities to the unknown.
I think that's really smart. I mean, you don't sound bitter. I know a lot of people in that similar situation would be very bitter if they didn't get the person they wanted to.
Yeah.
And you not only didn't freak out, you actually helped that person, which is really big of you. I don't think many people would do that.
Yeah, I think love to me, though, is very selfless and unconditional. If you really care about someone, you're not doing it out of your own benefit. And if you're looking for your own benefit within that relationship with whomever it is, even if it's just a friendship or if it's romantic, I believe that you don't actually care about that person, but you just care about how they make you feel or what they do for you rather, which is ingenuine.
And I think that's the problem, is like a lot of people are just looking at what they can get out of this
Yeah.
And so a lot of it that is very superficial, where it's like, let's just hook up, or let's, you're hot, I'm hot, let's do something. But then, as you know, it goes away pretty quick. If that's the foundation of the relationship, it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I think that's awesome. I think, and we talked about this a little bit off camera, if you like somebody, go for that person, take the shot, because if you don't try, failure is guaranteed. And so by just opening up that conversation, be like, hey, I think you're really cool. Do you want to grab coffee? You're not weak by doing that.
Yeah.
You're showing interest. And worst case, they say no, you're out literally nothing.
Yeah. 0% chance if you don't try. But, at least there's a slight chance if you do. And I think that slight chance, everyone should take it.
Yeah, because then you can feel good about like, oh, there was that really cool person, but at least I asked them. Versus if you never said anything, that's going to haunt you forever.
Yeah. Don't be scared of rejection. Like I say that to everyone. To me, rejection is redirection. So if you rejected me, that means there's someone else out there for me. Or maybe it's just not the right time. Who knows? But we'll figure out in the future. Not for me to know right now anyway, I guess.
Yeah, you can't control the future. Like you can just do the best and then literally let things happen as they happen. All right, so now we're going to go through your Hinge profile and see if there's anything we can do to optimize it.
Okay.
So it looks like already you have 711 likes, which is a really good sign. So, okay, you have a lot of matches, and I can see what you're saying about the guys not having a great profile picture. Yeah, we really need to help the guys out here. This is bad.
Or like what they say may not be too interesting either sometimes.
Or, yeah, there's this guy which two people are in the picture. Like, I don't even know who's who.
Right.
Yeah, this is just bad. There's a couple good pictures, but like, this guy has a knife.
Yeah, that's like a little scary. This guy's pictures.
Oh, wait, let me go back. So, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I swiped back a knife guy. I think this is back right here, right? Oh, wait. I'm totally messing you up. Okay. Which one's nice, Jared?
Oh, like this picture's nice here. Like.
Okay, so Miguel.
Like good picture, good selfie.
At least there's good lighting. He's not wearing a shirt.
Could have a shirt on if.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a shirt on. That would definitely be good.
That would be nice.
But definitely not knife guy. Yeah, but I mean, it looks like you have a lot of matches. A lot of the guys could do better. This one's nice. Love your profile. Yeah, I mean, some of these are really sweet. So let's go into your actual profile now. And I think it's just your profile view. Okay, that's a really cute intro picture. It shows your face. There's no other people in it, which is really good.
Yeah.
When I was 18, I left by myself to travel the world, lived in 5 different countries. It was my dream to do this since I was a little girl. It was my dream to do this since I was a little girl, and I never gave up to make it my reality, no matter how many odds were against me. Okay, so that shows you're really outgoing, adventurous, streamer at Twitch. I mean, I think that's really impressive for most people too. Demisexual, what exactly?
Demisexual, so it's... I don't actually like to classify as anything, but I mean, I guess that's what's most fitting for my sexuality, where I'm very much like I'm personality based, I'm character based. I'm not going to recognize if you're an attractive person unless I know your character, unless I'm attracted to who you are.
Okay.
I guess like for me, I can understand when someone's conventionally attractive, like to the world, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be attracted to them. Everyone's kind of like a blank slate until I get to know them more, and then I start to know if I'm attracted or not.
Okay, no, I think that's fair. That's like, I've seen that before. I just didn't know what it was. So I figured this is the perfect time to ask. 4'11", is that your real height? Mm-hmm. Okay, because some guys lie. Okay, you have, this is a really good picture. This is really well lit. You can see you're at a nice restaurant. You have a funny cat meme, which always works. So let's see. Do we have audio for this? Okay. So I think that shows a funny side of you. Teach me something about you. Anything and everything. I absolutely love learning and expanding not only my knowledge, but wisdom and perspectives as well. I love hearing what people are passionate about and their dreams in life. Okay, so I mean, it shows you're really caring, and I think that will attract a lot of people. Dating me will look like I really want to support you and watch you achieve great things because you deserve happiness. Also, I picked this flower and I wanted to give it to you. That's definitely you.
Yeah.
No, I think that describes you really well. I can lick my elbow.
I can do that.
That's a cool talent.
That's just a funny picture.
Yeah, that's a funny picture showing your true height. In this picture, this is a cute picture. I think we can give you a better picture, like showing something, but that's a cute picture too.
Just a filler picture.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. That's cute. But no, you have really good pictures. I think we're going to be able to give you, I mean, really, really high quality pictures. But honestly, like, this picture is good. The one negative I would say is, like, you might be covering a little bit too much of your face, but it's a good picture. So I think people will still swipe on it. But normally what I recommend is, like, a really well lit, like, good profile picture.
Yeah.
And, but like I said, people are obviously swiping on this like crazy. So you're good. But awesome. I'll let you end the recording.